Hi, in today's video, I'll be covering the TI Nspire skills necessary for Chapter 9, which involves hypothesis testing. In this video, we'll go over one sample z-test for proportions. We'll compare one-sided tests versus two-sided test results. Then we'll also look at the one sample t-test for means using either stats or data. We're going to have to use an example to look at the one sample z-test for proportions. In this example, 20% of teens aged 13 to 19 post sexually suggestive images of themselves. At this high school, the counselor worries that the figure at their school may be higher. So first we're going to have to draw our null and alternative hypothesis. Our null hypothesis is that the true proportion is equal to 20%. At this school, the counselor believes that the true proportion is actually greater than 20%. That's going to be our alternative. In the sample, they have a sample size of 250 and 63 admit to sending the post-sexual images or whatever. So that's our sample proportion of 63 out of 250. This is all the information you need to conduct your one sample z-test for proportions on the calculator. We're going to look for the one sample z-test for proportions. We're going to first open our calculator app. You're going to go to the home button, and then you're going to go to the calculator app right here. You want to click Menu. We're going to go down to Statistics. And again, we're trying to conduct a hypothesis test. So this is what we call a stat test. And then we have a long list of different kinds of tests we're going to study in this class. Again, we're looking for something that resembles one sample z-test for proportions. The closest is going to be this one proportion z-test. When you click on that, you'll get P0. What does this P0 mean? The P0 is your null hypothesis. So in here, we're going to put the 0.20, again, for our null hypothesis. Here we have success is X and an N. So think of the fraction that we used. It was 63 out of 250. So that's what we're going to put. We had 63 successes out of 250. That's the original fraction we used. Our alternative hypothesis, we said that the true proportion was greater than 0.2. So here, prop not equal to P0, that's not what we're going to use. We're going to use prop is greater than P0, and then we can get these results right here. So when we look at this, we have our Z of 2.05548, but more importantly, we have our p-value of 1.99%. Since our p-value is less than our significance level of 5%, we would reject the null hypothesis. I want to take a moment to show what would happen if we used a two-sided test as opposed to a one-sided test. Let's take a look at the two-sided test very quickly. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to Menu. We're going to go to Statistics. We're going to go to a Stat Test. And then we're going to go back to the one prop Z test. We're going to put in our null hypothesis of 0.2. Our successes was 63 out of 250. And this time, I'm going to use the two-sided test. P is not equal to P0, which is 0.2. Notice that for the two-sided test, we still get the same Z value of 2.05548, which is what we'd expect. But in the two-sided test, the p-value is automatically doubled for us. So you don't need to double the value again. You already have it doubled for you. That's what the calculator will do. Now we're going to look at a one sample t-test for sample means, using statistics first. In this example, we had the game Don't Break the Ice, where the ice cubes had to be exactly 29.5 millimeters. That's going to be our null hypothesis. If the cube varies too much from 29.5, then the cubes no longer work. Our alternative hypothesis is that the true mean cannot be equal to 29.5 millimeters. When we put this in our calculator, there's only three things we're going to need on top of this. We're going to need our sample mean, our sample standard deviation, and our sample size. Once again, we're going to want to choose the calculator app. You're going to select the home button and then choose the calculator app right here. Again, we're looking for a one sample t-test for means. So you want to think about that as you search for this. You go to Menu. We're going to go down to Statistics as usual. And again, we're doing a hypothesis test, a one sample t-test for means. So we're going to go to Stat Test. And which one most closely resembles a one sample t-test for means? Well, there's only two that's a t-test. This one and this one. So it's probably going to be the first one. This is a t-test for means right here. You have two options. You could either choose data or stats. So in this one, we're going to choose stats. because we already have the given information. Our null hypothesis goes right here where it says mu 0. So for that, we're going to put 29.5. Again, that was our null hypothesis. Then we're just going to put in our sample mean. We're going to put in our sample standard deviation, and we're going to put in our sample size. What was our alternative hypothesis? We have three options. The true mean is greater than 29.5, the true mean is not equal to 29.5, or the true mean is less than 29.5. In this case, it was a double-sided test, so we're going to choose not equal to. And here we have our information. Notice that it gives us our t-value of negative 1.21653, and it also gives us our p-value of 0.229611. Since this is a double-sided test, this p-value has already been doubled for us, so you don't need to double it again. For this example, we're going to have to put in data, but first we also have to know what our null and alternative hypotheses are. We're looking at the dissolved oxygen level of 5 milligrams, putting aquatic life at risk. That's going to be our null hypothesis. Anything below 5 milligrams per liter will put the aquatic life at risk, so that's going to be our alternative hypothesis. We don't know the sample mean or sample standard deviation, and the only other thing we know is the sample size, which is 15. So we're going to have to put this into our calculator. Let's go back and put this in our calculator. For this example, we're not going to go to the calculator app. We're going to go to the spreadsheet app. We want to select the home button. This time we're going to go to the spreadsheet. And on the top, we're going to type in dissolved oxygen. Now that might be long, so maybe we could just type in DO for dissolved oxygen. And then we could type in our data. Now that you have all of your data, you can conduct your t-test for means right here on the spreadsheet. What you want to do is you want to select the button Menu. We're going to go to Statistics again, as usual. Again, we have these options. We're going to go to Stat Test. And then this is the same exact test. It's a one sample t-test for means. So we're going to choose that. We have two options, data or stats. This time we're going to choose data because we input the data. And we're going to hit OK. Do you remember our null hypothesis? It was that the mean was equal to 5. For our list, we're going to put DO for dissolved oxygen. That's the data that we're going to perform the t-test for. You have to remember what your alternative hypothesis. So for here, we were testing to see if the true mean was less than 5. So you want to select mu is less than mu naught, which is 5. And then you want to make sure that the first result column is not overriding the column you put your data in. So in this case, we want B. If you scroll up, we should be able to see all the information right here. Here you have our t value, and then right below that, you have your p value. You also get other information like your sample mean, sample standard deviation, and sample size. If you want to see this in a more clear way, you can just go straight to your calculator app from here. Go to the home button, choose the calculator app, and if you want to see again on one screen, you hit the var button and go to stat.results. When you go to stat.results and you hit enter, it'll print everything we just did for us right here, our t value, our p value, and all the sample statistics associated with the data. I hope you found today's video helpful in hypothesis testing for Chapter 9. I'll see you guys next time, and good luck.